Greetings. My name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. Today we're going to be taking a look at two very similar rigs, one on 1.2 inch props, the other one on 1.4 inch props, and kind of stacking the deck against the one that's on the 1.4 inch props. These are NBD drone Hummingbirds. This is the Hummingbird V3.1 Race. This is the Hummingbird V4. The reason why I say that we're kind of stacking the deck against this guy right here is that the Hummingbird V4 is significantly heavier than the V3.1 Race. But the bigger props should help that slight increase in all-up weight. These are both on the exact same motors, same camera mount. Similar antennas, kind of a shitty VTX ultralight antenna on here. Relatively lightweight, but a little bit better quality antenna. So the video quality should be better here. Other than that, yeah, these two are almost identical. The V3.1 Race has winding materials that are direct soldered to the AIO. The Hummingbird V4 has motor plugs. These are both running NBD Drones 0702 30,000 kV motor. HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 props on here. HQ 1.4 by 1.1 by 3 props on here. Yeah, fairly straightforward kind of comparison, but I've been dying to do this. I've been absolutely dying to figure out. I've spent a bunch of time flying 1.4 rigs in a bit of a vacuum. Not really switching back and forth between them and 1.2 inch propeller builds. And the other night, I flew a 1.2 inch rig, and I was like, oh. I've been really happy with the way that the 1.4 inch propeller builds have been flying, but I've also been trying to make that prop size work forever. I've been trying to find like a good setup. So I'm kind of invested. I'm cleaning the grass off the ducts here, by the way. Q-tip and ISO. Yeah, rose-colored glasses and all that. And so yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of these comparison live streams because I really want to dive into what like the difference is and what's the best for all of you to kind of build. I will say though that it's a pretty low barrier for entry here, right? Like, to take a 1.2 inch prop build on 0702s and move it over is like a frame and a set of props away. So yeah, you should try this. If you have an indoor rig on 1.2 inch props and you want to try something a little bit different, this is a really cool thing to try. And if nothing else, it will kind of educate you on response time, because you'll feel a difference in response time between one and the other. So it'll be a great chance to experience that and just try to like gain an understanding of what that feels like and what it changes about the flight characteristics. And float. It's gonna be a great chance to fly the same setup, but with a little bit more versus a little bit less float, because the frame, I don't think there are any 1.2 inch frames that are that much heavier than these Meteor 65 Pro frames. And so the prop size is, your disc loading is going to go up because the propellers are going to get bigger, and the weight's only going to go up a little bit. And so, yeah, you should try this and make up your own decisions. But I'm dying to do this because, you know, of the never-ending quest to have the ultimate indoor freestyle TinyWhoop setup. And it could be 1.4-inch props, right? Like, the idea here is to push the propeller size. For me, the main like path for finding the best possible indoor ultralight freestyle TinyWhoop is to I mean it's always been to figure out, like, we've got some sort of constants. We've got an amount of runtime that we want, like 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes or more. We want to stay as lightweight as we possibly can. There's no bottom to the weight side of things. There's no point where we're going to go too lightweight on these rigs that we're going to be flying inside the house, because flying inside the house is just impossible. It's just super difficult, right? And so there's just as light as possible. The lightweightness is not like the most important factor. If, you know, we can get these things down to 16 grams, but they're still okay at 17 and even 18 grams. And so the weight is important, but it's not a deal breaker in a lot of cases. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the sort of like the ratio of size to weight, right, which is basically disc loading, that has a lot to do with it. Durability, right? So there's all these things lined up that we want to try to have, that I want to try to find the best performance in all of those things for a simple to build, plug and play ish rig that you guys can all fly around the house and have the best possible experience, because it does matter. Flying an 0802 19 point something gram rig inside the house is going to be significantly more difficult than something on 070. So the other part is maximizing the 0702. The 0702 motor is the right motor for flying inside. It's the lightest, it stays nice and cool, it makes really good power. There's a lot of different KV options out there, right? So, like, it is the 0702. We want to maximize the 0702 from, like, a propeller standpoint. And what it's starting to feel like is that a really lightweight 1.4-inch prop is the limit for an 0702. But there is it does affect response time. That's what I think you guys are going to see here in a little bit when we start flying. I think you're going to be able to see, I can certainly feel the difference in response time between these two. And that's important. Like, everything happens really fast when you're flying inside the house. And so response time is really, really important. I think it's more important than some other stuff that we usually weight higher than response time, which is kind of interesting. Like, flying in a field, flying outside, it's not like it is inside. You know, you fly inside the house, you've got the couch, and then like 2 feet away you've got the bar cart, and then another 1.5 feet away you've got a stupid lamp, and then another 3 feet away you've got a side table. Like, it's just, everything is on top of everything else. And so Uriel says bigger house. Slightly more expensive solution to the problem, but a solution nonetheless. So yeah, it's response time is a huge, seems like a huge deal inside the house. And like, I say response time because I want to wrap everything into one. It's you know, response time is what happens when you look at like the power of the motor, the weight of the rotating assembly, how draggy the propeller is, how heavy the propeller is, right? All those things rolled into one affect how quickly the motor can spin up, can accelerate and decelerate. And that has a lot of different effects. It affects the way that it handles dirty air, prop wash. It affects how it feels to you on the sticks. The quicker the response time, the more like locked in or like connected you feel to the build. Literally, the more quickly it responds to your input. So like if you're about to crash, and the response time is quicker, you might actually be able to make a correction and not crash. So yeah, it's super important. And every time I've gone to a bigger prop size from 1.2 inch, the response time increases so much that it's just kind of not worth it. It doesn't make flying inside the house easier. You have to fly like in the future. Because things are happening so quick, because there's so much stuff to hit, you have to be ahead. You have to put the input in when the couch is starting to come near. And that's super difficult. So yeah, and I have this like kind of hunch that even though these 1.4 inch rigs are very flyable and I've been having a really good time and I love the float of the bigger propellers, I've flown a couple batteries on good old 1.2 inch propellered rigs, and I'm like, oh, right, there's that pesky response time popping back up, and helping me out, like making me feel more connected, making me hit more gaps, more gates, stuff like that, because it's just responding to me quicker, and so I'm super excited to kind of dive into this, and specifically, you know, it's really nice that I've got two super similar rigs. For those that are really paying attention, this was in this frame. This Newbie Drone Hummingbird V3.1 race was the second bind and fly that I dropped into one of these Meteor 65 Pro frames. And it was nuts. And I wasn't thinking about it at the time. It would have made more sense to drop the Hummingbird V4 into the bigger frame with the bigger props. But I wasn't thinking when I initially did it. And so now we're in kind of a better place. The Hummingbird V4 in the Meteor 65 Pro frame is 19.4 grams. That's a little heavy. 19.4, and then the Hummingbird V3.1 race is going to be ridiculously lightweight. Yeah, 16.7 grams. The extra weight over stock is this Bri-Brain camera mount, but the camera mount that the race comes with is not realistic. It's not good. You don't want it. And so the difference between the weights of the propellers, because these are both on the same motors, right? The difference in the weights of the propellers are going to be 0.56 grams for 4 of these 1.2 inch props, 0.56. And then we are going to try these Gemfan biblades, 1.4 inch biblades. These guys, which are the lightest of the 1.4 inch props, these guys are 0.65 grams. So even the lighter weight 1.4s are heavier. To do like an apples to apples comparison, here's a set of the HQ 1.2 inch biblades, the lightest biblades that we've got. Hold on, the scale just needed to be tared, so that might not have been right. HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 biblades, 0.5 of a gram. Gemfan 35S biblades, the lightest biblades in 1.4, 0.69 of a gram. That's quite a bit of extra weight. And then the tri-blades, the HQ ultralight tri-blades, are 0.56 of a gram. So somewhere sort of in between. And That's what I have on the 1.2 inch rig. On the 1.4 inch rig, I have these HQ 1.4 by 1.1 tri-blades, which are here. Can somebody type these weights into the chat, please? These guys are 1, 2, 3. Always weigh 4 props. They're so lightweight that you want to weigh 4 of them. 0.69 of a gram for the HQ 1.4 by 1.1s. So, yeah. Biblades are always, not always, but biblades are almost always going to be a little bit lighter than tri-blades. That's what we're seeing here, of course. But both of these builds are on the tri-blades. You know, we're actually going to leave both of these builds on tri-blades. Because it's an apples-to-apples comparison, we're going to leave these on tri-blades and not, like, muddy the waters by moving these things to each one of them or both of them to biblades. So we'll do everything today with tries. When we test, we're going to test more classical ultimate freestyle TinyWhoop formulas here in a future stream. We'll test these on biblades. But this guy right here, we're going to test this with tries. Maybe in the future we'll test this on bis, but yeah, for today, we'll keep everything on tri-blades. This will let me fly more batteries on each one of these to focus a little bit more on just the differences, you know what I mean? In the chat, Bad was first, Lebster, Chaser, Alley Cat, Viz, Arbeek, Stefan Four Elements, Robert Pope, Weebleed FPV. What's up, Zotek? How are you? Cole Powers, Raise FPV, Bob Bruce, Kevin, Uriel, Alexander Lewis Hughes, Craig, Kevin again, Andrew Taylor, Uriel, Cole Powers, Flygadelic, Hendrix Freakazoid. The flying at the beginning of the live stream, by the way, was TinyWhoop Open. I don't know what rig that was. Probably 36,000 kV 0702 Ultimate Freestyle TinyWhoop. Hendrix Freakazoid, Matthew W, Tommy Noose, Rockcrawler, Notice, Islander FPV, Wicked Drums, Levster again, Raise again, BMF Spade. YouTube just did the thing. Cole Powers, I think I might have gotten everybody. Wilbur. Is the THIJS Arbeek? It's a very Dutch name, he says. Is it Thijs? Thijs? Is the J like a little J? Or is there no J at all? Is it just this? Give me some phonetic jams. All Etsy orders have been shipped out. So, yeah. I'm burning through propodials like crazy. Every single thing that I ship out to you guys, including Etsy orders, will have a propodial in there. Usually purple. Violet, actually. Saint Smart violet. Yeah. This is awesome. Propodial is awesome. Great little way of pulling props off without a tool. And it's actually, to me, the propodial is like in addition to. It's not a replacement for a clone popper or a prop popper. It is in addition to. If you can't, namely, if you can't get this, if you can't get your prop popper in between the propeller and the motor bell, then the propodial is your tool. And it does that fantastic. This will put a little bit less stress on the connection point between your motor shaft and your motor bell. So you want to use a proper prop popper as often as you can. That was hard. He says it's like TYSE, like Mike Tyson. That's the best. That's the best misspelling ever. That's the best misspelling ever. It's like Tice, like Mike Tyson. So it's Tice Arbeek. I will not remember that. Tice Arbeek. Thijs. Tice. Okay, so the J is pretty much silent. Cool. Tice Arbeek. Apologies in advance. I will absolutely forget that throughout the course of this live stream, and then at the end of the live stream, I gotta go teach some folks how to couples dance. Craig says, sitting here waiting for my screaming goat, waiting for the fun to start. It's on the way. Craig also says, but first need to fly a few batteries. This is a hashtag 6 batteries live stream, so make sure you've flown your 6 today, my friends. Hashtag 6 batteries is, for anybody new, is basically your reminder to fly 6 batteries every single day. If you fly 6 a day, be they, doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter if they're TinyWhoop batteries. It doesn't matter if they are 5-inch batteries. If you fly 6 a day, you will get so much better as a pilot in such a short amount of time. You will literally crap in a pile on the floor, in the corner, hopefully, so that nobody else steps in it. This is how you support me. This is how you support me. Head on over to CiottiFPV after that insane series of words that came out of my mouth. You should definitely support me so I can keep doing this. Head over to CiottiFPV.com, and pretty much everything you click is going to help. Here's the live stream schedule. Patreon, as it says, helps me out the most, and you can join it for as little as $3 a month. That's only 10 cents a day. It is the only way that I can do as good of a job at this as I can. So support me and join the Patreon. You're also going to get a ton of benefits. You're going to get a Patreon-only playlist with like sketchy flying, Patreon-only live streams, lots of good stuff. You're going to get full access to my Discord with a really cool group of people. And there's some other stuff that I'm forgetting. Well, there's a whole bunch of articles, a whole bunch of technical articles on the Patreon page itself. Yeah, just a bunch of really good stuff. Well worth 10 cents a day. That's for sure. Etsy has a bunch of fun stickers, hardware, and other stuff that you can buy. Some motors, some frames, some motor and frame combos. Lots of really good stuff over on Etsy. 3D printed stuff coming soon. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me if you want to learn really fast. Purchasing time from someone who's been around for almost a decade is the best way to do it. Teespring has some fun shirts and other apparel. PayPal if you want to support me directly, but you don't want YouTube to take 30% of your super chat. Discord for all the fun. Non-patrons do get Discord access, but not full Discord access. Searchable live stream transcripts by Craig. You can literally search, type a couple of words or just a word into the search, and it will dig through literal transcripts of all the live streams. This is super slick. And then a whole bunch of affiliate links here. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links. Change your URL bar suggestions here to affiliate links so that when you type AMA for Amazon, it goes to this, as I call it, the nut grabber, which is just my affiliate link. And then you don't have to think about using affiliate links when you type into your chat we for Weebleed instead of just going to weebleed.com. Here we go. Here's a perfect example. So right now, when I type we into my chat, it tries to go to weebleedfpv.com/cart. If I scroll to the right here, I can remove this suggestion. And now it tries to go to Wells Fargo. There's no other, there's another Weebleed one here. I'm going to remove this one as well. Right? So now we don't have any Weebleed suggestions in the browser. So what I'm going to do is pull this window opened. Look how quick this is. Ready? I'm going to hold Command on the Mac. I forget what it is on PC. But I'm just going to click this affiliate link a bunch of times. And this is just telling my browser, like, yo, look how often I like going to Weebleed. Right? So now that I've done that, start a new tab. And if I type we, it's still going to try to go to Wells Fargo. But here it is. This is my affiliate link. Let's see. If I click it a couple more times, will Will the browser understand the assignment here? All right, let's see. Have you understood the assignment? Not yet. But it's there. What if I click here? Now let's see. There it is. Now it gets it. And so there you go. That's how you train your browser to use someone. Look, it doesn't have to be my affiliate link. Anybody's affiliate link. Just do it. Support us so that we can make better stuff for you to watch. I have affiliate links for Amazon, GetFPV, Pyrodrone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, Weebleed, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Hazingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Flywee, Max Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. There you go, yo. Change one. Do one right now. Pick one of these and do it right now, real quick. It'll take you a minute. In the chat, BMF Spade says, I'm really liking the 65 Pro. Me too, man. Me too. But it's time to take the rose-colored glasses off and really get a good comparison point here. Matthew W says, have you ever done an artificial weight increase to test for 65 millimeters? I have. Add pointless hardware to go up to 19, 20, etc. See if there's a hard cliff or not. Yeah, it's like 20 grams. It's kind of like 19 grams, but really 20 grams. If you get over 20 grams, it's just too much. It's just they're fat. They just feel it. You feel every second you're flying it. It feels fat. With these, realistically, on a 1.2 inch prop, it's 19. You don't want to be up into the 19 gram range. 18 point something is okay, but going up to 19 is a bit too much. I think that with the 1.4 inch props, that 19 number will bump up to 20 or maybe even 21. That's another thing that we're going to kind of myth bust today, because this is 19 point something grams. But yeah, it's right around there. Flying inside the house, 16 grams is insane. 17 grams is like totally doable and great. 18 grams is typically where like you can get a little bit more durability, and it's still totally flyable inside the house. 17 is better for sure. 16 is hard to get to without some serious compromises like direct soldered motors or AIOs that are kind of fragile or shit like that. So yeah, there you go. PUC says 75 millimeter 1 or 2S for backyard and jungle gym. 2S for backyard, 65 for jungle gym. The gaps in a jungle gym are tiny. They're as small, if not smaller, than the gaps inside your house. So yeah, for jungle gym bashing, it's actually 65 1S. 75 millimeter 1S for jungle gym bashing. It gives you a little bit more weight and a little bit more power if you get the right motor, which is kind of hard, but it's definitely going to give you more weight, which is going to be better in the wind. These little guys in the wind suck. And so if it's a windless day at a jungle gym, ultra lightweight 65 millimeter is just so much fun. It's still impossible to fly. Like, it's so... jungle gym is gonna be like one of the hardest things to fly. If you want to like really fly it hard, if you want to like hit a gap, 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 right? If it's not just like float around in the sky and then drop down under the monkey bars and then float around in the sky again and then power loop the monkey bars and then float around in the sky again and then power loop the monkey bars again, right? You can do that with a 5-inch rig. I'm talking about power looping from one gap in the monkey bars to another gap in the monkey bars. Matty flipping from one gap in the monkeys to another monkey gap. I'm talking like power looping up the monkey bars into like another part, right? We're talking like going from gap to gap, blind, inverted. Yeah, like the things that you wish that you could do in the jungle gym. these will help you do it. The ultralight 65s will help you do it. Everything else will make it harder. Just because, again, everything is, the gaps are all small and they're very close together. And so it's about shooting gap to gap. A 1S 75mm at the Jungle Gym is going to be significantly harder in the same way that it is significantly harder to fly inside the house. It'll be way harder to do that really, really, really fun, really high level flying. But if there's some wind, it'll push against the wind better. That's a pretty specific. I would rather have a 65mm ultralight build that is amazing at the Jungle Gym if it's a windless day, and a 2S 75 for front yard, backyard flying. At the Jungle Gym, it's still totally doable, and it's every bit as good as a 1S 75mm rig, other than being ever so slightly heavier, but then it's got all the power in the world to do other stuff. So, like, the 1S 75mm thing at this point is, like, I can only really recommend it if you have a bunch of 1S 450 or 550 mAh batteries that aren't dead yet. 2S 75, it's just so good, and it's just the tiniest little bit heavier. And yeah, it's going to do so many things so good. I can't justify the 1S 75mm conversation much, if at all, anymore, unfortunately, because I've spent hundreds of hours refining it and trying to get it as good as possible. But yeah, just 75mm builds, they're asking for an amount of power, and they're heavy enough to need an amount of power that 1S starts to get inefficient. In the same way that, like, 4S on 5-inch rigs versus 6S on 5-inch rigs, 6S just does everything better. Having that extra voltage gets you more efficiency when you ask for a bunch of power, and there's very little downsides because we haven't gone too far. 8S on a 5-inch rig, now you've gotten too far. In the same way that, like, with micros, 6S doesn't make any sense. 6S, you've gone too far. It's putting extra stress on the ESC for no benefit. 4S is king with, like, 3-inch, 3.5-inch micros. Very similar kind of scenario that we're in here. BMF Spade says, I'm ready to start throwing shit out of my house so there's less shit to get stuck behind or under. Yeah, flying TinyWhoop inside the house is a... if you were looking at, if you needed some motivation to live the minimalist lifestyle, there you go. That's it. TinyWhoops, bro. Cole Power says, Eurolay's on the right track. What you need is a rich friend with a big house that you can fly in whenever you want. Just stay out of the pool. Alley Cat says, I've found that I really enjoy 1608 propellers on 1002 19,000 kV motors on the Meteor 75. So 1608 props, that is GemFan's previous, like, the 1608 propeller, it's not bad. It's just, but it's also not as good as some of the newer 1.6 inch props. The 1608 propeller was the first 1.6 inch prop that was, like, good. The previous ones were kind of shit. 1608 is a GemFan tri-blade. 08 is very low pitch. And then the propeller is kind of heavier. Let's call it durable, because it is. It's a really, really durable propeller. Way more durable than the new generation of 1.6 inch props. For me, the 1610 biblade was always a little bit better than the 1608. Less grippy because less blades, 2 blades versus 3 blades, but more pitch, so more power, 1610 versus 1608 for the tri-blades. And it's significantly lighter. The biggest problem that I had with the 1608 propeller is that it's too heavy, and the response time took a hit. the 1610 biblade is just the right weight where like an 802 motor can handle it, 1002 can also handle it. Alley Cat is on a 1002 19,000 kV motor. So a 1002 motor is bigger and more grunty than an 802, and that size, that grunt, that torque is going to be able to handle that heavier 1608 propeller better than an 802. That propeller on an 802 motor kind of sucks. It works a lot better on a 1002. And so that's probably what Alley Cat is digging. Also, it's cool that the 1608 is a durable prop. All the 1002s are a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, so that's like a basher rig, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for better flight performance, different flight performance, quicker response time flight performance, an 802 motor on a either 1610 gem fan or the new HQ ultralight 1.6 inch props, which I don't know if I have any floating around. That's going to be a setup with significantly quicker response time, and also potentially more power. But yeah, the 1608 props I ran for a while. Those were the propellers that I finally settled on for the tiny lifters back before the 1610s and before the new HQ ultralights. So yeah, the Gemfan 1608s are like just barely good enough where I can kind of give them the thumbs up. The big thing about them is how durable they are. They're just bomb proof, which is really cool. Wilbur FPV says, "What's up?" YouTube just did the thing, scrolling back up to find my place. Cold Power says, "That's how you know Teddy got his 6 batteries in. Big poop." Cold Powers also says, middle click will open link in new tab. That's right, I always forget about that. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, "Good comparison between 4S and 6S on 5-inch, but I think the difference between 1S, 2S on 75 millimeters is even greater." It is. It absolutely is, because it's doubling, right? As I try as often as I can to scream from the rooftops, live in a world of percentage change, right? The percentage change of 1S to 2S is 100%. It doubles. So it's similar to 4S versus 8S with 5-inch rigs. 1S to 2S is an insane change. Like, it takes 75 millimeter rigs from being like a snooze, if I'm honest, on 1S to like just greased lightning, bros and broettes. If you've not done a 2S 75 millimeter build like this before, boy, you owe it to yourself to do it. This is my current favorite. This is just a Happy Model X12 bind and fly that I've dropped into a Happy Model Mobula 7 V3 frame, and then Beta FPV BT 3.0 connector, and the Gemfan 1610s, and they are in stock and on the Patreon only Discord channel, patron hangout. I did put a couple of coupon codes for a free one of these. They're probably already used, but you can check in there if you're a patron. Patron hangout, I should say. These are the TinyWhoop 300 mAh 2S folded cell BT 3.0 batteries. And they're just goddamn brilliant on this setup. This setup here is like 2 grams, I think, heavier than the similar 450 mAh 1S version, and it just does everything better. It's you don't feel the extra weight. The improvement in response time from 2S makes it easier to fly, because it's like just locked in and it's on your sticks. You move the sticks and it goes. On 1S, the 75 millimeter rigs are lazy and the response time kind of sucks. And so you're having to do that thing where you're flying in the future, and that makes it really difficult. And so yeah, the Alexander Lewis Hughes is absolutely right. You Can FPV says, if you had to do an AIO 5 and Lux Cam build, what would you put it in? I have done it a lot of different ways, and this is what I've kind of settled on. I am not a racer. The AIO 5 is a racing AIO. The end. The only realistic build for that AIO is a full tilt race spec build. Anything else doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. Cinematic, freestyle, whatever. The only reason, in my opinion, to do an AIO 5 for anything other than racing is that you don't have and you refuse to buy an analog goggle setup. You've only got HD0 and you're not willing to go down the analog road. And that's a shame because it's better for everything other than racing. And you could even make the argument that it is better for racing too because it's lighter and it's cheaper and yada yada yada. But this is after many I've put this AIO 5 into every different scenario that I can put it in. Freestyle, race, 65, 75, and it just never made any sense. This is where it ended up. This is a little cinematic RC drift car chasing build. I don't love it for this either, but it is interesting in this kind of setup. HD0 is super low latency like analog, which makes chasing the little RC drift cars a little bit easier because they change directions really quick and unexpected sometimes. Little bit better image quality than analog. So from like an editing standpoint, potentially this is a little bit going to give me a little bit better image quality. The problem with that is that the way that HD0 breaks up is way uglier than the way analog breaks up. So, you know, for me, I've got like a really nice antenna on here, a True RC Singularity antenna. And then I just try to stay absolutely as close as I can to where I'm flying this thing so that there is hopefully no breakup at all, since the breakup is so ugly. And so, yeah, that's it. For me, the AIO 5, I love that it exists. It's a really cool product, but as with all of HD0, and it's, to me, it is incredibly focused on racing. And that's kind of it. But yeah, this is what, and I've done all of those builds here on the channel. So if you go to my channel, you click the little magnifying glass and you search for AIO 5, you'll find a whole bunch of live streams of me building it into different platforms, flying them, talking about, you know, what I think and all that good stuff. So check it out. But yeah, the long and short of it is that the AIO 5 is just for racing, realistically. BMF Spade says, if you have flown a 5-inch 8S rig, you would like it when you do a power loop and stay inverted for the length of a football field. There's nothing like it. Makes 6S feel like 4S. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't ever need to fly that big. And if you have something that can do that, there's going to be so much power in that little throttle throw that throttle resolution is going to suffer. Sure, you can put a bunch of throttle expo in there to try to help with that, but I try to not do much expo on big 5-inch builds because they're so versatile and you fly them in like drastically different scenarios. You fly them in big spots, you fly them in medium spots. And so I only run a little bit of throttle expo on most rigs that I fly outside, to be honest, that aren't like CiottiWhoops. And so, yeah, the 8S 5-inch thing, while super interesting, is too much. It's too much power. Like, if you're only going to fly at big locations, maybe, but then I would be looking at like 6, 7-inch kind of stuff, you know? I don't know. To me, 8S on a 5-inch rig is about top speed. If you want something that's just going to run at like 100 miles an hour all the time, that's when I would want to go up to 8S. Because if you're running that deep in the throttle all the time, 6S is potentially going to become inefficient. And the higher 8S voltage is going to help that out if you're asking it for that much power like all the time, right? RHCP says, I've been using 2S with 1002 and 1102 14,000s, and I'm getting a lot of low throttle Jello. Adjusting filters helped a bit, but I still get a lot in the wind. Thoughts? TinyWhoops in the wind, there's nothing you can really do about it. It's just a bad aerodynamic situation. This is something that I've had to come to grips with the 04 rigs. Even the 2-inch 04 rig. In the wind, there's nothing you can do. You know, it's sending a bunch of air downwards. The wind is coming in sideways. It's hitting the duct. It's swirling. It's tumbling. And the rig is going to try to fight against that, and it's going to try to keep things flat, but there's only so much you can do. I spent a bunch of time on that Long Beach, California edit, editing out Jello and just general, like, the rig is wobbling around, and that's an 1103 powered 2-inch build that when I was flying in Atlanta with no wind was absolutely perfect. Like, no Jello, no bullshit. Absolutely locked in. So much fun to fly. And then with like 10, 15 miles an hour wind, it was a basket case. So yeah, in the wind, anything ducted is going to be super challenging, which is why I am going to be diving into some non-ducted stuff here. Just not quite yet. I got to find the frame and get caught up on some. The 1.4-inch thing gave me a whole bunch of work that I want to kind of get through before I dive in there. But it's coming. It's coming. I got to find a 2-inch frame with as little prop in view as possible, that'll take an AIO. And then I would like to do a little double stack AIO 04 in carbon fiber, camera forward, as low weight as I can, hopefully top mounted battery. There's a couple different options. I just have to pick one and launch into that month or 2 month long chaos that I'm sure is coming soon. Probably next month, if I had to guess. Andrew Taylor says, does that 2S battery fit the Mobile 7 frame, or did you have to modify it? Drops right in there. Mobile 7 V3 frame drops right in, fits perfect. It's awesome. You Can FPV says, Lux camera almost has night vision, LOL. I have HD0 Box Pro for my analog goggles. I was thinking night whooping. I never flew the Lux camera in super low light. RHCP says, thanks, you're certainly welcome. PUC says, any tips for soldering XT30 to X12 AIO? Struggling when I get the wire on, it just falls off. Boy, do I have soldering tips for you. Is it POOK or is it Puck? Is it PUC? What is it? Any tips for soldering XT30 to an X12 AIO? Trying to see if there's anything that needs a battery lead changed on it, so that I can literally do one for you. No, looks like they're all ready to go. Flux paste is a game changer. You can get this from Amazon. Search Flux Paste Syringe. The syringe lets you put it exactly where you want it. The fact that it's paste means that it stays where you put it. Flux pens are a liquid, and so you put that liquid and then it flows. You don't necessarily want it to flow. You want it to stay exactly where you want it. So you're going to flux paste the pad, and then you could even flux paste the wire itself. And so that's going to make a big difference. Nerd goggles are going to make a huge difference. Being able to see what the hell you're doing on this small, tiny work is a absolute game changer. Search Amazon for like magnified headset, magnified goggle, magnify. You'll find them. They don't have to be made by this Yaktosun company. There's like 80 different companies that make this exact set of head-mounted magnifiers. Don't run the batteries in here. It becomes too heavy. And the little LED is stupid anyway. So just, in my opinion, don't put the batteries in here, and it'll be nice and comfy on your face. And then you'll want to wear them all the time because you'll be able to see what the hell you're doing with this small, tiny little work. So you're going to take your battery lead. If you're already having trouble, stop. Stop what you're doing. Go get a drink. Go have a snack. Just walk away from it for a minute. When you come back to it, take your balance lead wires. Re-tin them. Take the balance lead wires. Hang them off the side of your desk. Put some flux on them. Take some fresh solder. If these are the leads, put the tip of the soldering iron under the exposed bit of wire, and then feed fresh solder in from above. You're going to bring the soldering iron up. It's going to hit the flux. There's going to be a big puff of smoke. That's a good thing. The solder on the tip of the wires is going to go liquid. You're going to push a little bit of extra solder in there, just so that you have some fresh solder in those exposed bits of wire. You're going to do both of those wires. Now your wires are freshly tinned with good, fresh, leaded solder. Hopefully you've got good solder. You want MG Chemicals solder is the easiest stuff to find, and it's really good quality. MG Chemicals 0.032 inches of diameter, 22 gauge, 2.2% flux, and you want to get 6337 solder. If you have MG Chemicals solder that doesn't match all of those things I just said, you're fine. MG Chemicals solder is good quality, and it is available like all over the place. Good quality solder is what you want. Shitty solder sucks. Jacob Ryan is right. Kester is also really good solder. Kester solder tends to be a little bit harder to find than MG Chemicals. The long and short of it is, solder can be shitty enough. No-name solder can be shitty enough to make your life significantly harder. So make sure you have good solder. So now you've got wires that have fresh, clean, good solder on them. You're going to put a little bit more flux paste on them, and then you're going to put flux paste on the solder pads themselves. You're going to get the wires oriented so that you can easily, with your offhand, in my case it's my left hand, with your offhand you can hold the wire perfectly in position where you want it to be. And then with your strong hand, you can take the tip of the soldering iron, bring the heat in, transfer the heat, and then remove the heat while you leave the wire in the exact right spot with your offhand. The soldering iron is not used to manipulate and move the wire. You're going to have to remove the tip of the soldering iron. So if you're using it to push the wire in, when you remove it, the wire is going to come back out. Can't have that. You have to be able to hold that wire perfectly against the pad that you're soldering it to with your offhand. And then the soldering iron is just to deliver the heat. Bring the heat in, wait until the solder on the tip of the wire goes liquid, and then keep waiting for the heat to transfer through the wire into the pad, and then for the solder on the pad to go liquid. So it's Get the wire into position. Make sure that you have it in position. Bring the heat in. Liquid on the tip of the wire, liquid on the pad, and then they're going to like mix. And that you're going to see the liquid solder and the liquid pad mix together and make a nice smooth solder joint. That's when you're going to remove the tip of the soldering iron, and now you just wait. And you wait like a couple of seconds for the liquid solder to solidify on the tip of the wire and the pad. And now you've got a good quality solder joint. Don't blow on it. Don't do anything else. Your situation is probably that you are not being patient enough and you're not waiting long enough for the tip of the soldering iron to melt the solder on the tip of the wire and then melt the solder on the pad. Usually it's a patience problem, but if you don't have flux, if you don't have good solder, if you've burned off all the flux in the solder that's already in the tip of the, like there's all these other problems that'll compound to make that situation way, way, way worse, which is why I took you through the whole kind of thing there. Super common problem, PUC. Super, super, super common. Soldering is difficult, and it takes a little bit of time and understanding. But you got it. Keep doing it. Keep learning. Keep blaming yourself. Don't blame the tools. Don't blame the solder. Blame yourself. I can take the shittiest solder, the shittiest soldering iron, and no flux at all, and I can make it work. I've done a lot of soldering now. So blame yourself, because that will force you to get better at soldering. But if you have shitty quality solder, get better quality solder. If you don't have a set of the magnified goggles, get a set of the magnified headset, nerd goggles. You know what I'm saying? Also, the Omni Fixo is well worth the 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever these cost. This is the best way to hold stuff in a position that you can actually manipulate it. So yeah, if you're just dying to buy a bunch of shit, buy an Omni Fixo for sure. It will make the quality of your work better. It will. Cool. Super common problem, brother. It's not just you. We've all had to learn how to solder. Craig says, order 3 McStinkies at 20 degrees from you, Red. Meant I order on Etsy. Did you just do an Etsy order? Yeah, if you guys are dying to get 3D printed stuff and you don't want to wait for me to add it to the website, to add it to the Etsy store, I have McStinkies on the Etsy store. You can order a McStinky or 2 or 3, and then in the order notes say, hey, I actually want a Bri Brain, or in orange. You know, I have the full color. I have Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, in TPU, and I can print most of the files. B-Bird and Bad and I are kind of working on the ultimate Bri Brain mount for freestyle for us, basically. And it's not quite done yet. It's a little heavy. We're close. This is where is it? It's this one. This is where we're at now, and it's really, really good. But it's a little chonky. The OG Bri Brain is 0.8 grams. The T-Dog Bri Brain with these things cut out the side is 0.56 of a gram. We've been adding to the Bri Brain, and it's now all the way up to 1.1 grams, which is just a bit much, you know. The T-Dog Bri Brain is very flimsy, but weight is on these 1.2 inch prop rigs, weight is a really big deal. So we're messing with it. Yeah, I want to have little antenna holders. I want to have B-Bird's really cool front foot design. But yeah, trying to figure out where we can save weight on these little fellas. But we're getting closer. Getting closer. I mean, the current version is really good, and 1.1 grams is not that bad. That's lighter than the old school Mobula 6 canopy, I'm pretty sure, and it should be really strong. But yeah, it's gained a bunch of weight over the regular old Bri-Brain, which is already the regular Bri-Brain is already a little bit heavier. There's also a Quad 6.6's mount, which is really cool. Which is 0.7 grams that I'm going to be kind of messing around with a little bit. So it's cool 3D printing stuff going on behind the scenes. And yeah, I can print any of this stuff. So if you guys just want to order a McStinky and then tell me what actual mount you want, make sure you tell me what color, make sure you tell me what up tilt, and I'll print them up for you if I don't already have them. At the moment, I have like one of every Bri-Brain, Batwing, one of every Bri-Brain and Batwing in every single color. So, regardless of what you order, what you want at the moment, I send it out to you. Craig also says the TinyWhoop 2S 300 mAh BT 3.0 batteries are amazing. Just bought 4 more. They really are. They're just nuts. It's JIS FPV. S's look like Z's sometimes when you look really quickly at them. JIS FPV says, will you be able to help me out with vibrations on my 04 Lite Mobula 75 1102 18,000 kV 2S Whoop? The videos in my channel, no matter what I do, I tried E6000, the camera didn't change anything. So I don't even need to look at the video. 04, any of the HD camera systems are gonna have Jello problems in bright light. The way to fix that is with an ND filter, believe it or not, which we don't really have much access to at the moment with 04 light setups. We need canopies, and I've been asking Happy Model if there's any chance of them making a canopy with some kind of a mount on the front for ND filters. But it's tough. You know, they got to injection mold these things, and we're asking them something super specific. Yeah, hopefully we'll get more options sooner than later where we can actually get ND filters on them. There's nothing that you can do that's going to help with that. On these little rigs, the RPMs are sky high, and so the vibrations are really high frequency, and that makes Jello really, really difficult on cameras that have a rolling shutter like the 04 Lite, like the 04 Pro, like all these lightweight little camera systems. And so, yeah, there's kind of nothing that you can do about it. Assuming that you've already tried changing propellers and that you've already made sure that your motor shafts are not bent, right? Like, you got to have clean motors. You got to have clean props. There are some propellers that are out of balance right out of the box, too. So stick with GemFan 1610 propellers or the HQ ultralight propellers. Those are the ones that are best balanced. And then you're going to fly early in the morning during sunrise and in the afternoon during golden hour and into blue hour. Those are the ways to drop the amount of light down so that the shutter speed can stay open for longer, which is what kills Jello. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot you can do about it until we have some ND filters available, which accomplish the same thing. ND filters are a pair of sunglasses for your camera to let less light in, as if you're flying during golden hour when there is less light. So, yeah. Soft mounting has a tendency, but not always, to make Jello worse. So, yeah, I've found a hard-mounted camera will have less Jello, but you can't use gyro flow or any of that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. But yeah, if you're flying an 04 Lite in the middle of the day, you're just begging for Jello. So you gotta think more like a photographer or a videographer when it comes to that kind of stuff. Lord R says, JB never answered my question. What other ways can he gets an awful lot of questions? What other ways can you tell your VTX is the problem? I have VTX S working or not with blue light working or not. LOL. Don't go by the light. Best way to tell if your VTX is working or not is to turn your goggles on, put them on the same channel, and see if you have video. Blue light or no blue light, that doesn't matter. VTX can be broken with all the lights flashing. It can be working with all the lights shut off and all the lights broken. So yeah, the lights on the VTX don't tell you much other than that it's getting power, right? It tells you that it's getting power, which is an important troubleshooting step. But yeah, kick your goggles on, see if you have signal. If you have a video signal but it's gray with OSD, your camera is broken, right? The video signal goes from the camera into the AIO through the OSD chip in the AIO to the VTX, out the antenna to the goggles. And so keep that, when you're dealing with video system problems, always stop and take a big step back and just remind yourself of that flow, right? And just sit there and just look at it and go, okay, camera. Is the camera working? Put the goggles on. Do I have an image of what's in front of the camera? No? Okay. Maybe the camera's not working, but not 100%. Is there OSD? Is the OSD chip broken? Right? And just take that huge step back, because a lot of times with video system problems, you're like, oh, I think I know what it, and you ignore those things, and you're like, man, I've got OSD but a gray screen. The VTX has to be broken. Like, no, it's the camera. And so, yeah, take that big step back, kick your goggles on, and away you go. Plug it into Betaflight, check the channel if you have to, in the VTX tab, that kind of stuff. Bad says, check Discord DMs. Oh shit. How did you do that? Bad has managed to calculate the weight of a bunch of these mounts. Well, that's pretty cool. Although your weight for the T-Dog is, according to my scale, it's off. I've got the yeah, hold on. Let me check a bunch of these weights against my scale. This scale should be pretty accurate. I checked it again with the calibrated weights, and it was dead on. So this is the is this the high or low up tilt? This is the low up tilt T-Dog mount, and on my scale, it's coming up. Oh, no, I guess we're pretty close. We're 1/10 of a gram off. On my scale, it's coming up 0.59. This is the regular bibrain Newbie Drone BI in 20 degrees up tilt, which is 0.85. This is the Quad 6.6 mount, which is 0.72. The all-in with antenna hooks that we've been working on is coming up 1.1 grams. And then the bibrain for smaller bodied cameras is coming up 0.75 of a gram. So there we go. Hopefully that'll help us dial things in a little bit. And there's some weights for those of you curious. Thank you for all the work that you've done on this already. Bad and B-Bird. Very cool of you guys. Cold Power says, has nobody made an STL to adapt some standard ND filter to 04? Nah, man, it's hard, right? Like the 04 canopies are either really heavy and they do have some sort of ND filter provisions, or they're a normal weight and they don't have it. I don't love the idea of a 3D printed canopy for those builds. Like, TPU is heavy for canopies, and typically not all that durable. The Happy Model molded canopy is so strong and it's so good. It's really hard to not. It's really hard to run anything other than that. I already forget. Mike Tyson, Tyson, Tice Arbeek says, I found out one of my rigs, TinyWhoop, didn't have dynamic idle turned on. After turning it on 70, my hover point seemed higher. Had to raise my midpoint slightly. Is that normal? Sort of, but turn it back off because you're not supposed to use dynamic idle on 1S. The devs say that there's something weird there and that you shouldn't use it. So yeah, turn it back off and put it back the way that it was. CiottiFPV says, also another question, what difference does high pitch and low pitch props have on a 5-inch rig, 1950 versus 2050 kV, which gives more thrust, and the pros and cons? Less pitch, more pitch. Less pitch, more pitch. Right? A higher pitched propeller has a steeper angle of attack on the individual blades. That's going to make more power. In order to do that, though, the hub is going to have to be thicker because the propeller is going to need more to hang on to, right? If the propeller is nice and flat, just like you see in my hand, you're going to be able to have a thin hub. But as it increases, and so the propeller gets heavier. Not only does the propeller get physically heavier, but it becomes harder to turn when it's a higher pitch. So you need a bigger motor. And I mean, you don't always need a bigger motor, but sometimes you need a bigger motor. And so it's not a free lunch, and like, it's tough. High pitch is typically going to be for if you want to go faster, if you want to cruise and go faster. Going to a high pitch propeller just for more power doesn't really make a lot of sense. You would want to go to a higher kV motor for just more power. Pitch is about covering ground. The right reason to go to a higher pitched propeller is that you want to cruise faster and you want to have more resolution, more throttle resolution when you're going really fast. And so if you're building some sort of a chase rig, or if you just want to cruise at like 50, 60, 70 miles an hour all the time, a more pitchy propeller is the way to do that. Case in point, racers. Racers go 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour all the time, and they run more pitchy propellers than freestyle pilots. Freestyle pilots cruise slower, but then we still want a big burst of power to throw ourselves up over stuff. And so we run a lower pitch propeller that's going to be lighter weight, but then we run higher kV motors. Racers actually run high kV motors and high pitch just because they're super power hungry. But for freestyle, typically we run lower pitch props so that we can cruise slower, and also because they're lighter weight. A lighter weight propeller is going to eat prop wash better. So yeah, there you go. That's how you pick high pitch versus low pitch. That's one of the best ways of picking high pitch versus low pitch. There's a lot of different ways you can pick it, but that's, in my opinion, the best way to pitch it. Those are the things that high versus low actually do better. Cole Power says, not canopy, just an adapter to put ND ring on 04. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. 04 is a pain in the ass to mount. It's a weirdly shaped camera. The bezel on the lens is really short. You know, it's square and then round. It's annoying. It's super annoying, and that's why nobody's really done it yet. Tice Arbeek says, great job on the name, by the way. I'll have to do it every time. I'll forget. Guarantee I forget. Caught up on chat. Is it? Oh boy, it's 4:30 already. Here we go. Diving in. 1.2 versus 1.4. This is not going to be the only comparison point here. We're going to do more in the future with this, but this is us getting started. Hey, by the way, I've printed on Thingiverse, there's a really nice little rapid fire cover that fits the HD0 expansion module here perfectly. And I had just a little bit of the white PLA that came with the Bamboo Lab A1 Mini, and so I printed it, and it's just like damn near seamless. Like that's a molded bay against the 3D printed cover, and it was awesome. I did it in red TPU first to add a little bit of color here, but it's too flimsy, and the little latches it was just falling off. And so this is garbage. But I wanted to show you guys that. I was pretty proud of myself for making that. It looks so good, yo. And it clips in there really nice, and it's not falling off. Way better than the red rapid fire mount that like hangs off the back all janky like. So yeah, these HD0 goggles are all the way. There ain't a goddamn thing left. They've got the coolest vinyl wrap ever on them. That's sold by 533. It says HD0 Entertainment System. Couple of True RC stubby singularities here. I don't use these for HD0, so I just have a couple little nipples here on these guys. If I am gonna fly HD0 though, it works totally fine like this. These two get all the shit done. But I have extra antennas in my bag. I could certainly throw these on here real easily. And then the expansion bay, rapid fire, 3D printed case, nice tall True RC singularity here to get the head of this antenna up above all the liquid that's in my brain. And then this is a Menace RC linear specific patch antenna. And then on most of these TinyWhoops, I have some sort of a linear antenna. The Micro V is a linear antenna. The little whip antennas are linear. And so yeah, I've at some point I do kind of plan on doing some actual antenna testing. It's really hard to do though. But I took this newbie drone race when it was on the 1.4 inch setup, and I flew it really far away on 25 milliwatts, and I had crystal clear video. I was like a full block of houses over, like at least 100 meters out on 25 milliwatts on a shitty little antenna. And when I was directly out in front of myself where the patch was working, it was beautiful. I was really impressed actually by how well it was doing on 25 milliwatts. It was on the other side of like a tree, and it was like out there. So yeah, I think that Menace linear antenna is good. Kind of ugly, like a weird blue color. I would like to either spray it gray or vinyl wrap it or something like that. But yeah, sure beats this thing. It probably doesn't beat this thing. This would work better. This is a 13 dBi antenna. This is I have it sitting here along with a little bag of antennas because I do want to do a little bit of analog antenna testing. Pretty low priority though. Like the higher if you buy an antenna from True RC or Menace RC, it's going to be good quality. Both of those companies are known up and down to make really good quality antennas. Really good guys working there. And then the higher the DVI, the more narrow the beam, but the stronger the beam. Antennas are not, well, they are rocket science, but the way that we select antennas is not rocket science. Higher DBI, narrower beam, but stronger if you're in the beam. And then CP antennas are going to be the best in terms of multipathing. Straight up whip antennas are going to be like the second worst. Modified whip antennas with the ground plane removed are going to be the absolute worst. And then something like a micro V, like the ORT or the new TrueRC one, is going to be better than a linear antenna, but not as good as a CP antenna. And it's not polarized. It's still linear, even though it has the ground plane at that 120-degree angle there. And yeah, that's it. You know, antenna selection is not just performance-based either. It also has to do with weight and durability. And so antenna testing it's rough. It's really difficult to do as well. It's difficult to do the testing in a way that's fair across the board. I've got 6 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries charged, and I've got 2 builds that I'm dying to know how they differ from one another. Away we go. We're going to start off with Weebleed 300 mAh BT 2.0 folded cell batteries. I've got 4 of these that I bought all at the same time. The way that I can tell that is that they've all got red metallic Sharpie up here. When you buy a pack of batteries, well, if you don't have them, buy a set of metallic Sharpies. They'll write on anything. They'll write on black. They'll write on anything. The juice in here is awesome. And they sell them in this pack where it's red, green, blue, gold, silver. And then when you buy a set of batteries, mark them in a specific color. And now you know that and then run these all, right? When you charge up a set of batteries, charge up all of your red marker batteries and run these all down. And now all of these red markered batteries have the same number of cycles. So if you want to test something, you can have a set of batteries that are going to be close together. If you don't do this, you'll have a battery sneak into your testing that's been cycled 500 more times than the other ones, and that's going to completely fuck up your testing. So mark your batteries. So we've got 4 Weebleed batteries, and then I've got 2 of these tattoo batteries, which are marked in gold, even though... Or the other thing that you can do is never order the same type of 300 mAh BT 2.0. Get a pack of the Weebleeds, and then get a pack of the tattoos, get a pack of the TinyWhoops, get a pack of the quad gas, and then the label itself is how you can tell one of these, the individual sets of batteries that you've got. The problem with doing that is these labels can peel off, and then you're left with just this. So use the marker trick. It's nice to have a set of those metallic Sharpies floating around. They're super, super, super handy. First up is the Hummingbird V4, because I actually haven't flown this yet. I just got done transferring this over into the frame last night. So let's see how this thing is. This is a Hummingbird V4 that has been dropped into a Meteor 65 Pro frame with the brand new HQ 1.4 by 1.1 by 3 propellers. Brain 20-degree up tilt mount. I've hot glued all jankily the ELRS antenna up here, and then I switched this over to a whip antenna that's a little bit lighter. I forget who it's made by. Flywoo? I think it's a Flywoo. I think it's an ultralight Flywoo whip antenna that Weebleed was kind enough to send me. I heard a spaghetti monster. There he is. Oh my god. So here we go. These are the fart. These are the 1.4-inch HQ tri-blades, the new props. Woo! Things happening quick. Ah, we're good. We in there. So, as you can see, flies great. I, on the other hand. It flies great. You would not hate this. The tune is a little overly aggressive at the moment. When I come off the throttle, it does not spin the props all the way down to idle. And that's usually an indication that you've got a little bit of a overactive tune. So let's just back it off the tiniest little bit here. Miscellaneous PP. I just want to check on the D-men. Yeah, gain and advance are at 30. That's fine. Okay. Come on. I might need to spend. Oh boy. I might need to spend a little bit of time with this rig on the filtering. Wow, that did not. The problem with that is if I go full throttle and then chop it, and it doesn't go to zero, and it doesn't drop the motor speed down to idle, when I'm inverted like there, it's going to be pulling me down, which we don't want. Ooh, that's a big fall. Oh God, something happened. Full throttle, nothing's happening. We've got an issue. There's a motor that's full throttle. Just trying to throw it down the stairs at this point. I can't even get up over that lip there. Hold on, let me go retrieve. Teddy was no help in finding the propeller. I'm sad to announce that Teddy is worthless at finding purple propellers. Hang on. So that is high right. It's up there somewhere. Somebody will step on it and bring it home. All right. And fresh propeller is on. Boy, that just so these newbie drone motors have noticeably thinner motor shafts than Happy model. These props are just falling onto these motors, and I'm actually having to scrape up the inside of this propeller to get it to grab. That's why I just lost that propeller. So yeah. This is why it's so hard for prop manufacturers, right? They don't know what the hell to make their inner diameter because some of the motors have 0.99 millimeter motor shafts. Some of the motors have 0.98. Some of them have 0.97. Ugh. That's going to just come right back off. Come on, man. You got to really dig these tweezers in to get it to lift the gem fan plastic is softer than the HQ plastic. The HQ plastic, you got to really drive these things in there to get it to raise enough of a lip for it to then grab the motor shaft a little bit more. Let's try that. That's better. That's better. All right, that one won't fall off. The other ones might, but that one won't fall off. Well, now the runtime comparison is out the window because I had to power that thing down. That sucks, but that's all right. Hummingbird V4. It does not feel as heavy as it is, which is a really good thing, man. That means that the 1.4-inch props are really helping with this slightly heavier build. All right, we're just gonna run right into another battery here, and then we're gonna move over to 1.2-inch land. Hummingbird V4. Yeah, I gotta figure out the, whoa. I gotta figure out the tune situation on this thing. Oh, boy, that hurt. Oh, no. Oh, no, it threw another propeller. I'm gonna run out of props. Fuck. It didn't throw a propeller, but the antenna got down in between the prop and the duct. Response time is still pretty good. These motors make mega power. Woo! Hey. Ah, I just touched it. That's what she said. No! Oh! That was cool looking. Ah, cut it a little too close there. Hummingbird V4 is really good before, but boy, this is really good too. Oh, slapping down on the bar cart. Ah. Oh my God. Holy shit. Kind of low runtime. These motors do make crazy power. And this thing has got a little bit of weight to it. And this hot glue antenna mount that I did is about to pop off. But damn. You can't say that it doesn't fly good. It's got float. It's got power. It's got a little bit of everything. Really good. If you've got a Hummingbird V4 that's a little fat, this is a cool way to get that weight like kind of under control. I guess you could say. Nothing wrong with the Hummingbird V4 once you've done a canopy swap out of the box. I was really happy with the way it flew. I did a whole live stream about it. Great bind and fly. But this gives it that little bit of extra. It gives you the little bit of extra time that you lose from it being a little bit heavier. Float. That's the way of me saying float. And man, that is fun. That is really fun to fly. Off-the-shelf parts, plug-in motors, easy to replace. Frame is like $5. Different set of props. Away you go. That's really cool. But then there's this. Then there's the full-blown race, significantly lighter, smaller props. So now the response time is going to get a lot better. Same mount, same camera, different OSD. The image quality is going to be a little bit worse here. This is the older Beta FPV OSD. All right, so I need to fix the hover point on this. The throttle expo midpoint, 23, 22. So I'm going to do 24. We're going to go in here to main, profile, rate. Yeah, the midpoint is way too high. Drop it down to 23. You always have to do it. If you make that big of a change on the midpoint, you got to go back in there. You got to put it back up in the air. 25, 26. Yeah, see, it's too low. It's too low. I'm going to go back down here. Main. Profiles. Rate. Now I got to bring the midpoint up. Probably like 25 is probably about right. Oh, nope. Not quite. 27, 26. 25 is a little too low. I want it to be 27. Damn it. Main. The main thing is because it's CAC firmware. CAC! Oh, nope. Great. So let's do 27. That'll be fine. Cool. Much better. Hey! So, as you can see, still plenty of float. Still plenty of float. Oh my god. Okay, way lighter. Way quicker response time. And that kind of makes everything happen faster. Jesus Christ. Oh boy, pretty obvious the difference between these two, huh? Same up tilt, same everything. Difference in all up weight, for sure. Oh, I just went full throttle into the railing. More power too, I think. Jesus, man. Crack cocaine is the newbie drone race build way. If you can keep up with this. Oh! That's like the main beam. The house it's on. It just went face first into. Ah! With more power and this being so much like faster, it's harder to fly. There's there's something about 1.4 inch. I think it's just that, like, the bigger props and the not huge increase in weight. Oh my god. It just makes it that little bit extra float. Man, I keep hitting that top bar. A little bit extra floaty. The reason why I think this makes more power is I'm missing everything high. Whoa. I touched the ground and that was enough for crash recovery to trigger, and then it like locked me out for a split second. I'm missing everything high. I'm hitting the ceiling. I'm hitting the top of the power loop. And that's usually indicative of extra power. We've got a bunch of runtime back now too, 3.2. I have a funny feeling that these propellers are too much for the 1.4-inch props. I think we're asking too much. Oh boy, I can't get this battery unplugged. These A30 connectors can go to absolute hell. They're either too loose or they're too tight. I don't understand. The Beta FPV BT 2.0 plugs, they're always just right. But these A30s, I swear to God, they're always too loose or too tight. In this case, too tight, which sucks. Another one. Another battery on this rig. Here we go. See if I can get used to it a little bit more. That whole battery was me just trying to get used to everything happening so much faster. See? I missed it high. Fuck. This is unrecoverable. That is the sim rig that you're looking at. I'm squished between the sim rig and the VR goggles. Teddy's just staring at it. This is also a shittier antenna. So if the VTX ain't working as good, that's why. Whoa. Ah! Come on now. Why? There is an... Oh! There is an instantaneousness to this rig. Always has been. This Newbie Drone race rig has always been ridiculous. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me right now? It allows me to crash way more often because it's so much faster. Oh, Teddy, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is again, we've stacked the deck against the 1.4-inch rig. It's a lot heavier, but it also shows you, fuck you. It also shows you the differences drastically. Did it throw another propeller? I threw another propeller. There's a different rig that's throwing props. It's these Newbie Drone motors, man. The motor shafts are a little bit thinner, and that's making propellers fly off, and that's annoying. Nope. I don't know why I thought that would work. No! Oh, how did this get all banged up? Teddy. Trying that railgun, even though it's crooked. Oh my god. What was that? What the hell was that? Oh my god! I'm not flying very good right now. Still plenty of float, right? Still plenty of float. Also, we've got nice lightweight propellers on this thing. The other rig's got the heavier HQ 1.4 by 1.1s. Oh, shit. Trying to get good at this wall ride here. So, oh god, I couldn't see. I still can't see. So, in here, and wall ride. And then you pitch forward and turn the corner. Kind of cool, right? Oh, shit. And then you can like, oh, that I really masked it on that one. That was really nuts. Oh, fuck, I hit the lamp on the wall there. I hit this lamp. Yikes. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. I turned air mode off in the middle of that, but it didn't help. This is incredible to fly. 1.4 ain't better. It's just different. This is insane. This is incredibly fun to fly. And I mean, in fairness, this is outrageously lightweight 1.2 inch, right? Not really a freestyle rig. I mean, specifically and I can't get this fucking battery unplugged again. Specifically a race build, right? Like, insane winding, the motor winding material being used for the motor wire, direct soldered to tiny little pads, the works, right? But what I think it illustrates is hopefully the difference between 1.2 and 1.4 in a way that you can maybe actually see it through the live stream. I can feel it, but I want you guys to feel it without flying it, which is difficult. 2 batteries left. It's only 457. Let's move the Hummingbird V4 onto biblades. I think that's one of the things that is really making the difference between these two extra noticeable. They are both on the lightest weight tri-blades available right now. So I think this was still a fair comparison, but I also think that on an 0702 propeller, the 1.4 inch tri-blades are a bit much. They're really good, don't get me wrong, they're really, really good. And if you're going to go on this adventure with me, you should have a set of these HQ 1.4 by 1.1 by 3s. But you should also have a set of the Gemfan biblades, the Gemfan 35mm S biblades, because they are special. And what I'm going to get back here is that response time. This setup is now going to have quicker response time, and that might kind of close the gap, because that's really the main thing that I noticed. Like the main thing that you lose when you do this is that response time. And maybe that doesn't matter to you. Like, if you like the way that 75mm 1S flies, then you're used to much lower response times, and you won't really notice this as much. But if you fly a lot of 1.2 inch prop, you'll absolutely, I'm pretty sure you'll notice the difference in response time between these two setups. But you gain all that float, which is kind of cool. But with these biblades, I think you get sort of the best of both worlds. You get some of that float. You get almost all that float from the bigger props. But then you also get the pretty quick, pretty snappy response time. Snappy is a good word for it. Here we go. Back to 1.4 inch life. Same motors, same camera, same canopy, camera mount, whatever the hell you want to call it. So we've got a slower cruising speed and a more floaty kind of thing. But then, look at that response time. Look at that. Quick yaw. Not as quick, but quicker. Oh, I laid it out a little too long there. Not as much power. The 1.2 inch build being as light as it is, and having those 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 props, it's got mad power. And they're also very light, so it's going to spin those props up super quick. But this just gives me more time. In a cruise here, it's slower. And I just have a little bit more time to think. And crash. Can you see it? Can you guys see the difference? If you can't see the difference, are you blind? I hope you can see the difference. I can, my God, can I ever feel the difference? It is super obvious. Ah. It is super obvious when you're flying these. Ooh, this battery is not loving life. Whoo! Ah! Oh, you know what? I wonder if the throttle expo is all jacked up. 34, 33, 32. Bet you it is. Betcha it is! Rates. Can't see anything. Throttle med 32. Well, that's about right, isn't it? What were we just looking at? I forget. $35, $32, $35. 36, no, it's a little, 32 is a little low. It is the end of the battery, though. No, that's about right. It's probably about right. Come on. The reason why I thought about that is I wanted to try a little low elevation run. But instead I figured I'd crash and then show you Teddy. Come on. Jesus. Nope, no elevation run. I can't even fucking... can't do anything. There you go. 2 minutes and 24. We got a little bit extra runtime out of it. Oh boy, that's a big clump of hair in that prop. Yo! Wow, I charged this goggle battery all the way up the other day. And I've flown 5 batteries and it's already dead. I think I need to throw this goggle battery away. So there's the 1.4 on the lighter weight propellers. Definitely a little bit better on the response time kind of situation. Stop beeping! Fuck! Back to the newbie drone Hummingbird race to bring it on home. No wrong answers, no right answers here. These are both very, very fun. But this shows... Look at the difference in yaw. Like, this is mind-reading shit on this. Oh, no! Sign down. Oh. This is really good. But see, when this starts bouncing around, it's hard to recover. Because it's so fast, because it's smaller, yeah, but you can do stuff like that. Like, you can just change directions. Yeah, man. But still good float, right? because we've got more power, so it's going to spend more time going up. So we're going to go blip, chop, and it's spending more time in the upward direction. Up, and now back down, right? Because it's got the smaller propellers, and it can spin them up really quick. When you go and you blast full throttle, it gets this huge hit of power immediately. Oh, that was looking really good until I slammed into the counter there. Ooh! Oh! This is fun, and this is very fun in its own right. I'm tempted to say that, like, this is maybe for a more experienced pilot, but I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know if we can simplify it quite that much. Teddy! Stop it! Teddy! Get over here. 1.2 is still amazing. No questioning that. See how it just stops. Like at the end of that move, I blipped the throttle, and it's just absolutely immediate. It just freezes in time. And being lighter weight, stuff like that right there is potentially easier. .4 is very fun. But I think 1.2 is still king. Oh, man. See, like, if you're on it, this is where it's at. Super light, as lightweight as you can possibly build it. A propeller that matches the motors, absolutely perfect. You could argue that that the response time is too good on this setup that I'm flying. You'd be wrong. I don't think there is such a thing. What's hanging down from this? From this? What happened here? That's weird. Yeah, you'd be wrong. There's kind of no such. There's almost no such thing as the response time being too low. There is, but this, I don't think this is it yet. Again, because everything happens so fast inside the house. It's just everything is this, and like so any decrease in response time is going to help out. Man, there is something really cool about these, though. There is something really cool about the way that these fly. I'm looking forward to testing. So, you know, the deck was stacked against this guy today. But what's really interesting about comparing these two is that same motors, same canopy, same camera, right? But at like 19.5 grams versus 16.5 grams. Like this had an extremely difficult job to do today. Still had a blast flying it, hit a bunch of stuff. But this race spec is just bananas. The next comparison that we do, the all-up weights are going to be closer between the two of them. And I think that might close the gap a little bit, but still, an 0702 motor with a 1.2-inch prop it's insane. The snappiness, the immediate response is just phenomenal, and it really, if you can accelerate your brain and if you can keep up with it, it's just outrageous. But it does kind of look like you're flying a race rig freestyle. If you think about like a 5-inch race rig in a parking lot or in a bando, that's kind of what this is, right? And like, we usually don't consider that to be freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Freestyle rigs tend to be a little bit slower, a little bit floatier. They cruise at a little bit of a lower speed. These 1.4-inch prop builds, it's funny, I hadn't really, they kind of feel more freestyle-y. If I can turn that into a verb. Does that make sense? Does it look that way? Does it look like it's more of a freestyle thing than a racing rig being forced to do freestyle? Because that's kind of how it feels. Both are very fun though. And to do this, it's a frame and a set of props away. So you should do this. You might like this. You might like this better. If nothing else, it's a great little experiment to do. It's different. You should feel the difference. And I haven't broken any of these Meteor 65 Pro frames either, so it's not like a huge waste of time. Like, it's something that you can kind of do and start messing around with. That was really cool, man. That really opened my eyes to how much response time that we lose in doing this. I still think that the 702 motors are a good match for these 1.4-inch props. What's the meaning of this? Why are you literally clawing at me? You can see that? You guys can see this madness. You're pulling at my arm. You want to go pee-pee? Yes, you do. The dog wants to go pee-pee. The dude abides. I'm the dude in this case. Don't be a bad boy, please. Just go pee-pee. Just go pee-pee. It's all wet out there. Get back inside. You get back in here. Teddy. Teddy. Don't you run away. Get back here. Hey, Teddy, no. No. Teddy, inside. Hey. Come on. Teddy, let's go. Come on. Oh. When you let him out in the middle of the day, it's just chaos time. And he's just a bad. Teddy! Let's go. Get it back inside. Come on, let's go. Now. Teddy, come on. Let's go. Teddy. Hey. Get in here. Come on. He didn't even pee. What a jerk. No, it's not playtime. It's Teddy's a jerk time. Why you gotta be like that, man? Why can't you be a good boy? He just wants to go get soaking wet and disgusting. Let me get caught up on chat, and we'll shut this mother down. Lord Region says, remember YouTube only lets me write so many characters and spaces, so it's hard to write what is needed to understand. Thank you for trying to read my questions. LOL sucks with restrictions, I guess. Cold Power says, would it be worth putting a RHCP on the newbie drone Hummingbird V4? Not really. I mean, the circular polarized antennas are like a little bit better, but with TinyWhoops you're flying around the house and it doesn't really make much of a difference. If in your house you have horrible multipathing, then yes. I do not have that situation in this house. The multipathing is not too bad. So, yeah, for me, it does, and I've tried it. I've tried CP antennas, the True RC Singularities, and like they're a little bit better. But the problem is the short ones. When you run a little short CP antenna, the head of the antenna ends up being like right here, and then the AIO, when you're flying up above yourself, the AIO is in between the head of the antenna and you, and that's bad. And so they end up performing pretty shitty when you're up above your head. They perform great when you're down low, but like in this house, every time I go upstairs, the CP antennas really struggle. Whereas a lightweight whip antenna or the micro V, the head of the antenna is like up here or down here somewhere. And so when you're flying above yourself, you still have a straight shot. So CP antennas are for when there's multipathing problems, basically. So yeah, if that's wherever you're flying, then they could help. Cole Power says, considering weight versus signal quality, obviously considering same antenna type on both sides, currently using linear for analog. Yeah, I've pretty much moved completely to linear and or micro V for TinyWhoop stuff. The CP antennas are, I just don't really see an improvement in quality other than specific, very specific kind of situations, like in a big multipathing environment. BMF Spade says, on analog, have a bunch of letters all across the screen. It's a SpeedyB Ultra and Foxeer's Toothless 2. Is it a ground issue? Could be. Bunch of letters all across the screen. That's weird. When did it start? At Feel4 MYG says, I was plugging in my 2S04 Lite build, and one of the ESCs caught fire. I had already flown many batteries. It's a Goku F405 V2. Any ideas why? I'm very confused. No idea. If like you flew a battery and then you landed and you unplugged that battery and then you plugged in another battery and it exploded, I can't troubleshoot that. There is no troubleshooting. It just died. The flight controller just died. If you didn't do anything in between those, there's nothing to troubleshoot. That sucks, brother. Sorry. Uriel says, maybe practice Teddy in restart. What's that mean? Cole Power says, in the 60s, they had sex symbols. In 2025, CiottiFPV is a crash symbol. Cole Power says, you're getting tighter on the spiral down the stairs. Did you have to tune that, or is it stock? Everything I have has, like, my tuning. So, yeah, I don't have anything that's stock. The spiral down the stairs, I realized, it's about throttle. That's why I've gotten so much better at it in the last, like, month or two. You set I set the pitch and the roll and the yaw. I've just kind of learned what the spiral is to get down the stairs. And so I just set those 3 axes, and then I just focus on the throttle, and just at the 90-degree angles, just a big burst of throttle to get it to turn that corner. And then I know that amount of rotation, then another big burst of throttle, and then I've got to rock it back to the right, and then same deal, big burst of throttle. Which is a really, like, that's, remember that. Like, we think that everything that we're doing is pitch, roll, and yaw. They don't move the quad. If this thing is traveling along, you can do whatever you want, pitch, roll, and yaw. It's not going to move anywhere. The throttle is what moves the actual quad, right? And so I'd been focusing too much on pitch, roll, and yaw getting down the stairs and not focusing enough on throttle. And so shooting gaps, making this thing go into places without colliding with walls, it's about the throttle. That you got to have it pointed the correct direction for the throttle to then send it right. I can't believe I just said send it. I didn't mean to say it, I swear. That was by accident. But yeah, the throttle does the majority of the work. The throttle is what moves the weight of the quad, right? Pitch, roll, and yaw just change the attitude. It just changes where the throttle is going to go. Benny Bravo says, when it comes to 35mm props, do you prefer biblades still? Or would you run the HQ ultralights? Yeah, the biblades for sure. The Gemfan 35mm S biblades are the way to go. Unfortunately, they're only 1mm motor shaft. The HQ tri-blades are really good, and if you want more grip, yep, they're the way to go. But the magic of this propeller is that you can buy it with a 1.5mm motor shaft, and so you can do a really durable 1.4-inch build with really good propellers. This is a Mobula 6 2024 on Weebleed 0702 32,500 kV motors with the 1.5mm motor shafts. This is amazing. This setup is really, really, really good and super durable. And so, like, for an ultimate freestyle 1.4-inch build, this might be it. Doesn't have to be a Mobula 6 2024, but it certainly can be. Nothing wrong with a Mobula 6 2024. It's got the motor... Well, if you get the right version of it, if you get the version 2, you can have motor plugs. You could make an argument that a Beta FPV Matrix AIO would be a better bet. It's got a camera plug on it, and you can run a CO3 camera with it, which a lot of people prefer the way that camera looks to the FXT camera in this Mob 6 2024. But, you know, no wrong answers, just slightly different. But yeah, these 702 32,500s with the 1.5mm motor shaft are that's a really cool setup. Really cool setup. What I've been impressed with, though, is that these 35mm 1.4-inch prop builds, they don't seem to be bending motor shafts. This Meteor 65 Pro frame might be just bendy enough where the frame is absorbing a lot of the impact and not dumping it on the 1mm motor shaft. So, yeah. Couple really cool options, though, in this 1.4-inch world. Really cool stuff. Next time we're going to compare 40,000 kV 0702 1.4-inch setup with old school Mobula 6 Canopy Runcam Nano 3 to Newbie Drone Lite AF frame 36,000 kV 0702 lightweight tri-blades. Yeah. One of my favorite 1.2-inch setups versus a new 1.4-inch setup with mega kV motors. The weight of these two rigs is a lot more similar. This is what we're going to test next. Subscribe to the channel and make sure you don't miss it. The 1.2-inch build is 17.3 grams. The 1.4 is 17.8. So today we tested builds that are like almost 3 full grams different. Next time they're going to be almost the exact same weight. And we'll see if the difference is as drastic. Also, we're now going up to 0702 40,000 kV motors, doing as many favors as we possibly can for the 35mm 1.4-inch setup. Against like a kind of standard ultimate freestyle TinyWhoop, right? This is kind of a standard formula that we've had going forever. So this should be really cool. I'm super interested. The difference between these two tonight is undeniable and very, very obvious. So yeah, there you go. Cold Power says, Throttle Expo is my first thought on a Hummingbird V4. I usually fly back at 160-ish mAh. Call it dead at 175, falls out of the air at 185 to 190. I'm using 300 mAh batteries. Got it. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, can you get a set of the VCI 0702 30,000 light bushing motors? I got a set and like them, and I'm keen to hear a response about them. I've done a couple of TinyWhoop orders, and I've added them to the cart, and then I've removed them to the cart. I'm so happy with the Happy Model motors that I just... yeah. I want to test them, but... yeah. I will test them. I don't know when. But you know, with the world imploding, I keep looking at that $40. I'm like, let me just wait. But I will test them at some point for sure. I'm actually, I really want to test them. Betty Bravo says, damn, CiottiFPV calls the waves. BMF Spade says, from the first time I put it in the new. From the first time I put Put it in the rig, new build. That's the AIO catching on fire. It was just bad out of the box then. Doubles FPV says, I just broke my Meteor 65 Pro frame yesterday. It was less than a week old. What other frames are you using for 35 millimeters? There are none. Like, this is our only option. And this is one of the reasons that I've stayed away from 1.4 inch. Like, I've tested it, but yeah, the fact that there's only one frame available, and I wasn't super convinced that it would be a durable frame. Yeah, I've been pretty surprised, but I haven't put hundreds of batteries through it, so we'll see. But I'm going to keep flying these, and we'll see how the frame does. PUC with the last comment of the live stream, he says, I can't get TinyWhoop or biblade motors in Europe, so which other brand would you recommend? So TinyWhoop and biblade motors are just Happy Model motors rebranded. So you should be able to get Happy Model motors, and there's actually Zotek in the chat saying yes, you can. So there you go. Over on you could Zotek is over on my Discord if you want like an open line. Oh, he's talking about the shipping. Yeah. Happy Model motors are available all over the place. These VCI 0702 30,000s are supposedly really good. So lots of options. Beta FPV motors are okay. Yeah, a lot of different options for you. But there are Happy Model motors available. Just there might not be in the they might not be in the KV that you want. Most Happy Model motors are a little bit of a lower KV. The biblade and the TinyWhoop Happy Model motors are typically a higher KV. So yeah, but it looks like biblade might be able to hook you up. Thanks for hanging, friends. This was eye-opening stuff. I'm kind of glad to see that we are at the limit of the 0702 in terms of response time. I don't think that we're over the limit though, unless you're super sensitive to response time. If you need the just razor sharp response time that you get from 1.2 inch rigs, you might not like this. But you should give it a shot anyway, because it's like $10 to try it. And it's super interesting. More testing to come. Thanks, friends. Join my Patreon, support me, click a bunch of buttons on CiottiFPV.com, and I'll keep doing this. If not, I'll die a slow, painful death. You don't want that, do you? You do? That's evil. Been watching Dexter with Little Boo, so my brain is all murdery. Here comes some more flying from TinyWhoop Open with a 1.2 inch rig. I love you guys. I'll see you on, what's today? Today's Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Is that a giveaway live stream? No, tomorrow night's not a giveaway live stream. The following Monday is. Join the Patreon or go from the $3 to the, if you're already on there, go from the $3 to the $5 tier to make sure you get in on TinyWhoop giveaways at the beginning of every month. You don't have to be on the live streams. Your address is in Patreon. You win something, I ship it to you. And that just covered the extra $2 a month to get onto the giveaway tier. Love you, bye! See you guys tomorrow night.